Everyone, welcome to the show. So I have a quick update to share about a January 6th convict who became a fugitive after he failed to report to prison and then he went on the run with his mommy. So as I shared last week, 32-year-old Indiana resident Antony Vo had recently been convicted, or I guess not recently, it was last year at this point, but he was convicted during a trial about his January 6th actions. He was sentenced to 9 months in prison, 1 year probation, and a $1,000 fine. Well, Vo was allowed to self-surrender to serve his prison term, and he was a no-show. Then we find out he fled to Canada. He took his mother, fled to Canada, was seeking asylum in that country. And Vo claimed in his asylum request that he was a victim of political persecution. Well, like I mentioned last week, Vo told Canadian authorities that he couldn't attend a recent asylum hearing. We don't know why. There was like some indication that he was concerned that they would just deport him back to the United States. So he wanted some sort of assurance before he met with them. We don't know that that's accurate, though. We don't know what else he has to do, though, right? I mean, he's in another country basically just hanging out. Like, we know he had time to do media appearances. We know he had time to go snowboarding because Vo was interviewed by a local news outlet in Canada. And this was while he was on a snowboarding trip in that country. So he told the guy, yeah, I can get it in, between sets, I guess. Or I don't know if you call them sets. I don't snowboard, can you tell? Anyway, so Vo told the reporter, I'm not concerned about my case because Donald Trump is a man of his word. He's going to pardon me when he takes office. And here's the thing. He could be right. I mean, not about the man of his word part, right? Because that is just a laughable assertion. But Trump is likely to pardon Vo, especially since he wasn't violent on January 6th. The Canadians, though, they're not waiting to find out. So they arrested Vo. They arrested him, get this, on January 6th of this year. And this is for violating Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. So Canadian authorities say they have no record of Vo coming into their country through an official entry point. And a spokesperson told Law and Crime news outlet, quote, "The CBSA has a legal obligation to remove all foreign nationals who are inadmissible to Canada under the IRPA and who have a removal order in force." Now, they didn't say what that removal order is, and a Canadian attorney who's working with Vo told a news outlet that Vo was arrested because he wasn't available for his asylum interview, like I previously mentioned. And the attorney said Vo believes his arrest is purely political. The attorney told the news outlet, quote, "He thinks that Canada is just trying to prove a point to the current US government to say, oh, we are not condoning your political opponent or stuff like that. He thinks the whole thing is unfair to him, and he thinks the entire thing is unreasonable." Of course he does, right? Because the people who went to DC and committed crimes on January 6th are spoiled brats. They're spoiled brats who throw violent tantrums when they don't get their way. So yeah, that tracks. Anyway, Canadian authorities refused to comment. They won't give out the details of his arrest warrant, but there's an immigration attorney who spoke also with the news outlet out there. And he said, and this guy is not involved with the case, I should say. He told the reporter that Vo being held is unusual and that Donald Trump will view Vo's detention as a, quote, diplomatic slap to the face. I mean, seriously, who cares, right? Trump is talking about taking over their country. Trump is threatening them with making them part of our failed United States. I mean, just he understand these people have things that Americans want? And if they became Americans, they would lose all of that. They would lose their universal health care. And I get like people say, oh, well, I know a Canadian and they don't like it and they have to wait and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? We still have to wait here in the United States, and we get crappy care, and we still have to pay a fortune, and we very often end up in bankruptcy, and we can't afford the care. And some people don't even go to the doctors because they can't afford it. So you tell me which you would prefer. To wait and get free care, or to wait and be taken for a ride and not be able to pay your bills? I mean, it's not like we just snap our fingers and go to the doctors, especially if you have an HMO in this country, because understand what that means. An HMO means your doctor is on a monthly salary. So that's why when you call the doctor and they ask you, do you have an HMO or a PPO? That's why. Because they don't want to see too many HMO patients in a month, because then it's less money per visit. And they have less time for the PPO patients who they make money on with every single visit. So with an HMO patient, or if a doctor is contracted with an HMO, it doesn't matter if they see 10 patients a month or 1,000 patients a month. They're going to get the same amount of money. That's why they don't book that many HMO patients. That is the dirty secret that they don't tell you. That's why it takes longer to get in to see someone if you have an HMO, because they have a certain amount of slots available for HMO patients. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off track on the whole medical system, but let's just look at it this way. How many Canadians are beating down our door? How many Canadians are trying to cross the border to come to America because it's just so much better here? That's called a clue, right? We don't have the problem at the northern border that we do at the southern border. So again, big clue there. And as for Trump, I mean, other than his ego, other than his desire to maintain his power, he doesn't give a damn about these people. He's going to do just enough to make a spectacle of the pardons so his sheep will continue to believe that he keeps his word. But if there wasn't anything in it for him, he would let them all sit and spin. He'd let them all rot. He is and always has been about what's best for Trump. If your interests align with his, then you're in luck. If not, oh well. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.